Hey everybody, welcome to The Forge. It's me, Fjorg the Builder. I'm here to talk to you about the Elementalist, a custom class new for D&D designed by yours truly, me, Fjorg the Builder. Today, I want to talk to you about the current state of this class. It's gone through several changes. We've even run an art contest last year as we developed the class to create some visual elements to kind of better show off what this class can do, but better yet, to show off the skills and talents of the artist community, drawn from our Twitter community. And you'll see a few elements here of the art contest. These are 3 of the winning drawings, and you can talk to most of these artists still today on our Discord. But the Elementalist is a class that was something that I wanted to draw forth another defender option. Most people are going to think the barbarian when you're thinking the closest thing to a tank. This is a class that does make use of resistances, but in a different way. The Elementalist makes use of elemental powers granted to them by the elementals themselves. So not all elementals are necessarily evil, and this kind of plays into its own little bit of lore that you could fit into your world any way you want. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Elementalist. The Elementalist, and this is the current state of the document, changes. I usually put that on there when I know that this is an evolving document. And the Elementalist, if we scroll down, the general gist of this is going to be a proud, not just a proud warrior, but someone that truly believes that all life should be defended. They not only defend the elements themselves, but the creatures that live within the elements of earth, fire, wind, and water. And these can be either the elemental planes and defending gateways or entries into those planes, creatures from those planes, or it could just be the fact that the world we live in is made up of these elements, and defending the world itself is also defending the elements. So the Elementalist is a 20 level class, like all 5th edition classes, and you start out with the elemental armor, elemental shield, and a charge die. We're going to talk about the charge die. All of these elements across the top are going to come clear as we get into the class. At 2nd level, you're going to get commune with nature and elemental balance. At 3rd level, you'll choose your elemental mastery of either earth, fire, wind, and water. At 4th level, you get your ability score improvement, which is typical and key with all the classes. At 5th level, this is a fighting class, so you're going to get an extra attack. And Unhindered Movement, which is a special type of movement progression unique to the Elementalist. At 6th level, you'll get Residual Charge. This is the kind of class that doesn't have resource to expend, it has resource to gain, which is very unique. At 7th level, you'll get Elemental Mastery feature. 8th level, Ability Score Improvement. 9th level, Unhindered Movement Improvement. 10th level, Residual Charge Improvement. 11th level, Elemental Mastery feature. At 12th level, Ability Score Improvement. And 13th level, Unhindered Movement Improvement. 14th level, Residual Charge Improvement. 15th level, Elemental Mastery feature. 16th level, Ability Score Improvement. At 17th level, you'll get Dual Layered Shield. 18th level, nothing. 19th level, Ability Score Improvement. And at 20th level, Grand Elemental Shield. Now, a lot of these sound like improvements and not getting something new, but these improvements isn't just getting 5 more feet of something or getting 1 more use of something. A lot of these improvements are getting a whole new layer to the class, so you're getting a little bit more than it sounds. This is a D12 hit dice class. The Elementalist, just like the Barbarian, is kind of a meat shield. But with armor, they get light and medium armor only, along with shields, similar to the Barbarian. Simple and martial melee weapons, also similar to the Barbarian. But they get the tool kit's herbalism kit to kind of key into their nature aspect. I know this sounds like we're just copying over another Barbarian, and that was definitely the concern going into design on this. How do we make a class that feels unique from the Barbarian? And I think we've gotten very, very close. This is still in play test in our regular weekly game. Saving throws are Constitution and Wisdom. And skills you'll choose 2 from acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, medicine, nature, and survival. Your starting equipment can be a warhammer, any martial melee weapon, a light crossbow and 20 bolts, or any simple weapon, hide armor or leather armor, an explorer's pack, and an herbalism kit. Elemental armor. This is your first ability. The forces of nature have hardened your body, giving you greater durability than the average person. While you are wearing light or medium armor, you may add your constitution modifier in addition to your dexterity modifier to your armor class. Now this has been changed. This is now you can use either your constitution or your dexterity. So, like I said, this is a continuously evolving document, and changes are happening after or even during a game. So we found that this was way too strong, and it's now going to be, you can choose one or the other. The nice thing is it's going to take one of the stat reliances out of the class, and there's still a concern that that might be too powerful, but I didn't want to create another version of unarmored defense. This is just a different way of calculating armor class. You can still use your regular armor class calculations, either earned through a race or through another class. So the current stance on elemental armor is that you get to use your constitution modifier, kind of showing how tough and hard, kind of earth elemental feel to it. Your body is part of your armor and almost like a natural armor. And that was another thing we talked about, was doing something along the lines of, well, you wear armor, but could we do a continuously growing natural armor? And that could really creep and get out of control. Instead, we're just kind of changing the calculation from being dexterity based to being constitution based. You can still go with the dexterity based version, but you'll find the Elementalist is kind of a constitution key stat. So we're going to go with that for now. Elemental Shield. You have the power of the elements to protect you in combat. As a bonus action, you summon forth an elemental shield, made up of the 4 elements of earth, fire, wind, and water, that appear on your arm, protecting you from harm. Your elemental shield is similar to a standard shield, but offers additional features. When summoned and held in your offhand, you gain a +2 bonus to your armor class, just like a regular shield. As a reaction to you or an ally within 5 feet taking damage from a source you can see, you can interpose your shield, gaining resistance to the damage from that attack. Anytime you resist damage in this way, you gain 1 elemental charge. Your elemental shield can only have a number of elemental charges equal to your constitution modifier, minimum 1. So this section needs a little bit more clarification. So as a reaction, you're interposing your shield. If you have an attack coming at you or an attack coming to an ally within 5 feet, so you have to be within range of the attacker. And that's missing from this statement, and we're going to fix that. So you're interposing your shield, blocking that attack, and granting your ally the resistance. But if the attack is directed at you, you're gaining the resistance. So need to broaden out this paragraph and fill in additional contextual information. The third bullet point is a bonus action. When you have your elemental shield active, you may use an elemental charge to perform an elemental blast. Make a ranged attack roll using strength against a creature within 30 feet. On a hit, do 1d4 damage of either fire, cold, lightning, or thunder. This damage die changes as your Elementalist level increases, is what it should say, as shown in the Elemental Charge column of the Elementalist table. So something we've added to this is we're now doing, it does your Elementalist die plus your strength mod and damage. So we found 1d4 was very underwhelming, especially at low levels. So it's 1d4 plus your strength mod. And this is something you're doing as a bonus action, and you're using elemental charges that you're gaining from defending yourself or your allies with your reaction. So as you're playing through, an enemy attacks, say, yourself. You interpose your shield, you reduce the damage in half because it just gives you resistance to the damage. It doesn't care what damage type it is. You get resistance to the damage. Because you resisted damage, you gain an elemental charge. On your turn, you can now use that elemental charge to make an elemental blast as a bonus action. This is a ranged attack using strength to hit and bonus to damage. And you'll do your elemental charge die plus strength on that attack. You may end your elemental shield as a bonus action. When you do so, all charges are lost. Your shield and charges are also lost if you are reduced to 0 hit points or when you take a long rest. So, with that, some people would say, well, I'm just not going to dismiss my shield. Shields get in the way. A lot of people forget that your character isn't just running around with a shield on their arm the whole time. Shields can get very heavy and very cumbersome. So this shield is appearing on your arm, so it is taking away the action required to equip a shield, but it's not taking away the cumbersome nature of a shield. So keep that in mind as a DM or as a player, that your character is going to be limited. Maybe you want to attack with a two-handed weapon, or maybe you need to push a boulder out of the way. You can't do that with a shield on your arm. There will be times where you have to dismiss your shield, and if you take a rest, the shield goes away anyways. So, but there will be features to maintain your charges later on. Commune with nature. Starting at second level, you can reach out your senses to the world around you, listening to the voices of the elements. For the next 10 minutes, while you focus on this ability, you have advantage on nature and survival checks. You may only use this ability once per short rest. In addition, your connection to the elemental plane has granted you knowledge into the languages spoken there. You can speak, read, and write Primordial, which includes Aran, Aquan, Ingan, and Terran dialects. Elemental balance. This is also at second level. Your power over the elements also provides you with a level of protection against them. When in dangerous climates, you are immune to their effects. Severe cold or heat do not cause you discomfort. You may venture through the freezing Arctic or the deep deserts without suffering from its effects. This does not make you immune to cold or fire damage. If the elemental effects were to cause damage to you, you still take that damage. So, elemental balance is going to give you the ability to survive in harsh climates, but if the DM or even the climate itself would cause physical harm, you still take damage from that harm. Elemental mastery. At third level, you choose a mastery over one of the 4 elements. You'll choose mastery over either Ignis, Terra, Aqua, or Ventus. All 4 are detailed at the end of the class description. Your choice grants you features at third level, and again at 7th, 11th, and 15th. So, kind of a fan of using Latin to create interesting names for stuff, because Latin is an interesting language, and that's where earth, fire, wind, and water, those are just translations. So you have fire, earth, water, and wind right there. Ability score improvement, we don't really need to discuss that. That's something we all understand very well, including extra attack. We all understand that very well from other classes. Unhindered movement. Your power over the elements can aid you in moving around the world. As you gain levels in this class, you will gain improved abilities to move through the world. Starting at 5th level, difficult terrain no longer affects your movement speed. At 9th level, you gain a swim speed equal to your movement speed. At 13th level, you have a climbing speed equal to your movement speed. And finally, at 17th level, you have a flying speed equal to your movement speed. So these are all pretty big boons, but they're spread out throughout your character's leveling. Even just being able to change terrain into difficult terrain into just basic terrain has a lot of implications throughout the game. So spell effects that may cause difficult terrain don't to you. So you have that unique ability that the element of earth helps you with. Gaining a swimming speed is the element of water. Climbing speed, that one was more or less, we were trying to do movement. It's really hard to think of a movement with fire. We thought about walking on lava, but that was a bit much. That may come back, but climbing speed is what we went with. It's just part of moving through the elements with ease. And then flying speed, of course, wind Once again, moving through the elements with ease. Could go back and do walking on lava, but I didn't really care for that. Residual Charge. Starting at 6th level, whenever your elemental shield ends, you may retain a maximum of 1 elemental charge that lasts until you finish a long rest or make use of that charge with an ability. Your charge maximum also increases by 1. You may retain 1 additional charge, and your charge maximum increases by 1 at 10th and 14th levels. So what this is when you, if you have charges, say you have a Constitution modifier of 3, you have 1 charge remaining after battle. You decide to put your shield away, and your residual charge effect saves that 1 charge. If you had 2 charges, you would have lost 1, but maintained 1 of those charges that you can then make use of the next time you go into combat or until you take a long rest. Your charge maximum also increases by 1. So at the beginning, Elementalists could only have a charge maximum equal to their con mod. With Residual Charge, your con mod plus 1 is essentially now what your charge maximum is. And then as you get to 10th and 14th levels, your charge maximum increases by 1. So say you have a plus 5 Constitution with, so you have a 20 Constitution with a plus 5 modifier. And by 14th level, you would have plus 5. So 5 elemental charges, and then you get your residual charge 1, 2, and 3 more times. So you'd have up to 8 maximum points to make use of. And that would be for your elemental blast, plus there's other features in your, when we looked at the elemental mastery, there are features that you can use for each of those masteries. At 17th level, you have dual layer shields. So huge jump, 6th level residual charge to 17th level. That's because most of your abilities are going to come from your elemental mastery. So dual layered shield, when you reach 17th level, you can now use your reaction twice. Once to protect an ally within 5 feet from damage, and again to protect yourself from damage with your elemental shield. You or your ally gain resistance to the incoming damage, and you gain 1 elemental charge. So this is just saying that instead of having to make a choice of either saving an ally from damage or saving yourself from damage, you now know that you're going to get to save yourself once and an ally once every round, which is a huge jump in the power capability and your ability to scale points. Grand Elemental Shield. Finally, at 20th level, you may summon forth a Grand Elemental Shield that lasts for 1 minute. While your Grand Elemental Shield is active, it no longer requires your reaction to interpose your shield. You gain resistance to all incoming damage that you can see, and each time you resist damage, you gain 1 elemental charge. So, huge ability, lots of charge that you can gain. It's your 20th level ability. There's not a lot of characters that get to 20th level. Sometimes you may have a campaign where you just start there, but it's not common for a character to get to 20th level without multi-classing or just getting there in general. But being able to do this allows you to activate this and have it active for 1 minute. And what is missing and needs to be added to this is that you may only use it once per day. So once you use this ability, you must complete a long rest. So that is a comment that needs to be added into this text. So now we get to the elemental masteries. So we start with Ignis, fire. So your first ability is one with the flames. Starting when you choose this mastery at 3rd level, you gain access to the use of the Control Flames cantrip. You can use it as an action without the use of spell components. Fire Explosion. Additionally, at 3rd level, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you may expend elemental charges to do 1d8 additional fire damage to the target. You may use a number of charges up to 1/3 your elementalist level in this way. So you get this ability at 3rd level, which means you can use 1 charge to add 1d8 fire damage to your attack. But once you hit 6th level, you can use 2 charges, and so on. 9th level 3, 12th level 4, and so on, and so on, and so on. So, can really build it up, especially if you're good at getting in there and taking damage. And you have your residual charge, you're going to be able to carry more points from encounter into encounter. We have thought about looking at different ways to increase the number of points you get. One concept that was thought of is every time you start your turn, you earn just 1 point. So you're going to get 1 point every round just for having your shield out. Well, then we'd have to change how long your shield lasts. So your shield would only be able to last for so long, and you wouldn't be able to, you'd have to constantly summon it, and that's fine. I think we're leaning more towards that. Your shield's not always out, you summon it forth, it lasts for a minute, you get it 1 charge when you summon it, you get another charge every round that it's out, and you lose those charges if you go unconscious unless you have residual charge, and so on. So it's constantly evolving. Trying to perfect, an entire class is never easy. Heat of the Sun. Beginning at 7th level, when you take a short rest, and that rest is taken outdoors, and during the day, you may regain 1d12 hit points. You may use this ability only once and cannot reuse it until you finish a long rest. So with this, you're taking a short rest. Normally you expend hit dice. You're getting 1 hit die for free just because the power of the sun, the heat of the sun, is actually rejuvenating your body. At 11th level, you have Inferno. When you use your Elemental Blast as a bonus action, you may expend 2 additional charges to add a second effect. When you hit a creature with this ability, a ring of fire bursts forth, doing 1d10 fire damage to each creature within 10 feet. So you're using 1 charge to cast your Elemental Blast. And then you're going to use 2 additional charges to add a d10 AoE damage. So here's our second thought. Instead of giving someone a free point every round, the other concept that we've been throwing around is just saying your Elemental Blast does not require you to use a charge. You just can use your Elemental Blast as a bonus action. Just giving you one more thing you can do. And I'm more inclined to doing that your Elemental Blast doesn't take a charge. You can just use it as a bonus action and get yourself kind of a little extra attack. And then as you're getting abilities like Inferno, you can then add additional points to improve that free action option, that free bonus action option. I'm really leaning towards that, and I'm going to talk about this with the DM that's running the game, and we're going to probably play test that. Gift of Fire, 15th level. As a bonus action, you may consume 4 elemental charges to transform yourself into a fire elemental Myrmidon. I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing that right. I should go to D&D Beyond and check it out here. Myrmidon. The statistics for this elemental can be found in the Mordenkainen's Tomb of Foes. If this form is reduced to 0 hit points before the ability would normally end, you'll revert back to your normal form. Any damage in excess to the hit points of your Myrmidon form you will take when you revert to your natural state. You may maintain this form for 1 minute and only do this once until you finish a long rest. So, you need to transform into the Fire Myrmidon. Myrmidon. It's a fire elemental. It's cool. If you haven't had a chance, take a look at Mordenkainen's Tomb of Foes. It's a really cool elemental. It has armor and a weapon. It's just a little bit more interesting than a basic elemental, and it fits better into the design aspect. As far as miniatures go for those, you can find those miniatures. It's an older D&D set. They come unpainted. They are a little fragile. The plastic is kind of brittle, but you can get them, and then you can get a few of them in pre-painted, but I don't think you can get all of them. I think there's only 2 of the elementals available in a pre-painted option. So, or you can find someone that has a 3D printer, and there are 3D models of these available. You can go to Shapeways. I think there's a few there. But yeah, there's options. So now we go to Terra. 1 with the Earth. Starting when you choose this mastery at 3rd level, you gain access to use the Mold Earth cantrip and can use it as an action without the use of spell components. So just like the Fire Elemental, the Ingus, with Terra you get an Earth version cantrip that you can use. Binding Grasp. At 3rd level, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you may expend an Elemental Charge to cause the earth beneath them to burst up and grasp your foe. The target's movements become 0 until the end of their next turn. You may expend a number of charges up to 1/3 your Elementalist level. For every additional charge you use, you may affect another creature within 5 feet of the first. So this ability is pretty good. It doesn't add a damage bonus like Fire Explosion, but it does add a control element for the Elementalists. They're now able to lock down foes and force them to stay within reach, which can be a very powerful mechanic. Bioluminescence. Beginning at 7th level, you may cause your skin to glow with bioluminescence, shedding 10 feet of bright light and an additional 10 feet of dim light. You may also leave a trail of bioluminescent spores as you move that lasts for 24 hours, leaving a trail behind you that you can use to retrace your path. It is very rare for an Earth Mastery Elementalist to get lost deep beneath the Earth. So playing into an Earth Elementalist may be someone that goes into the Underdark often or just explores caves, and going in there you might want a means to retrace your step. Earth Shatter. Beginning at 11th level, when you use your Elemental Blast as a bonus action, you may expend 2 additional charges to add a secondary effect. When you hit a creature with this ability, a ring of earth bursts forth, causing each creature within 10 feet to take 1d6 bludgeoning damage, and their movement is reduced to 0 until the end of the next turn. So there's charging enemies coming at you. You make an Elementalist Blast, charge it up with 2 more points, a 10-foot radius burst of bludgeoning damage from earth shattering up, hits them and kind of binds them in place and stopping that charge. That's kind of the vision we have for that. Gift of Stone. This is identical to Gift of Fire. This is kind of the keynote ability for all 4. It's just this time you turn into an Earth Elemental Myrmidon. Aqua. And so Aqua is the one that I'm playtesting currently. One with the Currents. Starting when you choose this mastery at 3rd level, you gain access to the use of the Shape Water cantrip and can use it as an action without the use of spell components. Purifying Waters. Additionally, at 3rd level, as a bonus action, you may use elemental charges to gain 1d6 temporary hit points. You may use a number of charges up to 1/3 Elementalist level in this way. Additionally, as an action, you may sacrifice 5 temporary hit points to remove 1 disease or the poison condition from yourself or a creature within 5 feet. Kind of akin to the Paladin's Lay on Hands with that secondary feature, but you have to have those 5 temporary hit points. Not common. I mean, 2 in 6 chance to get, or to get 5 or more. But once you hit 6th level, then you're rolling 2d6, and then so on and so on. It gets to be a nice little kind of shield buffer, and has made the character very survivable. I don't do a lot of damage, but it's very hard to take me down. That's kind of what I was going for, and it's really working out. Water's Breath. Beginning at 7th level, your control over water has gifted you with the ability to breathe in water and separate the oxygen you need to breathe. You can breathe normally when underwater. So the movement abilities will eventually give you the ability to have a swim speed equal to your movement speed, but it doesn't give you the ability to breathe underwater. You have to be the Aquan. The Aqua Water Mastery. Glacial Burst. Beginning at 11th level, when you use Elemental Blast as a bonus action, you expend 2 additional charges to add a secondary effect. When you hit a creature with this ability, a ring of ice bursts forth, causing each creature within 10 feet to take 1d6 ice damage. And until the end of their next turn, they can either take an action or move, but not both. So it's giving them kind of a little bit of a stun from those ice shards hitting them, where earth is binding them in place. Ice kind of gives you the option to do either or. So when that happens, they can either move or they can act, but the creature can't do both. Where with earth, the creature can act but can't move. But in this, it also gives the creature the choice. So keep that in mind. And then Gift of Ice, it's just a water elemental Myrmidon. So Ventus, Wind, one with the Gale. Starting when you choose this mastery at 3rd level, you gain access to the use of the Gust cantrip and can use it as an action without the use of spell components. Lightning Strike. Additionally, at 3rd level, as a bonus action, you may use elemental charges to extend the reach of your melee weapon attacks. For each charge used up to 1/3 your elemental's level, you may increase the range of your melee attacks by 5 feet until the end of your turn. Creatures that you hit for every 5 feet beyond your weapon's standard range take 1d6 additional thunder damage. So that needs to be changed to lightning damage, because, I mean, the ability says lightning strike. So just an error there. But essentially what happens is, as a bonus action, you charge up your melee weapon. Your melee weapon now has a range equal to 5 feet for every charge used. So if you use 1 charge, you have now the ability to reach a creature in a 10-foot line. So it's not that you're hitting 2 creatures, it's that you can hit a creature that's 10 feet away. It just increases the range of the attack, not the type of attack. And when you hit that creature, you do 1d6 additional, should say lightning damage, not thunder. So a pretty cool ability. The wind, the Ventus Wind Mastery was the one that I wanted to try, because I thought that this was a cool feature that I really want to test out, and I think it needs to be tested out. But the campaign that we were playing, the Aqua just fit too better, because we were playing Saltmarsh. So, but the idea of being able to strike distant targets was pretty cool, and I would like to play test that still. The Wind Beneath. Beginning at 7th level, whenever you fall from a distance less than 10 times your elemental's level, you take 0 damage from that fall. If you fall from a height higher than 10 times your elemental's level, you take damage equal to 1d6 per 10 feet in excess to your fall damage reduction. So your level 1, say your 7th level elementalist, when you get this ability, you can fall up to 70 feet and take 0 damage. But if you fall 80 feet, you'll take 1d6 fall damage. It's just to kind of show that the wind carries you softly to the ground. Whether or not your DM wants to change your fall speed with this, that's up to them. Cyclone. Beginning at 11th level, when you use the Elemental Blast as a bonus action, you may expend 2 additional charges to add a secondary effect. When you hit a creature with this ability, a storm bursts forth, causing each creature within 10 feet to take 1d8 lightning damage. And each creature hit by this effect are pulled towards the target creature. So it's kind of, the cyclone comes out, radiates a little bit of electricity, and then sucks all the creatures in towards the epicenter. So kind of needs a little bit of refining in the wording. Almost everything does, but that's kind of the effect. Is you hit them with the Elemental Blast, this burst of lightning comes out, and then just pulls and sucks them all together, kind of groups them together. Great chain ability to do if you want to pull things together for a small AoE blast from another character, or maybe you just want to pull them away from something for some reason. So it'd be interesting to hear how players make use of that ability. So that's it for the Elementalist class as it stands right now. Going to be doing more revisions here soon. Hoping to get those out, and then I'll do another video on what we've done to make changes with it. You can find the current document on our Discord, and there's a whole PDF section in the Fjord's Forge. But thank you for coming and watching, joining us. It's always fun to kind of go over this stuff and talk about it and get it on video. It's a really great way to reach more people. And if you like what you're seeing and want to comment or contribute, please join our Discord or comment below on the video. I'd be interested to hear what you like and what you don't like. Be constructive, be creative, but don't be negative. It's our community. We want it to grow. We want it to get bigger and better. But we don't really want a bunch of people just dragging everybody down. It's not just to protect my feelings, but it's to protect everyone's feelings. So once again, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And as always, welcome to the Forge.